have friends who the wife pays the husband the mortgage every month. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And yeah, so what the data shows is that, yes, if you are virgins, and yes, if you get married young and you're Christian, yes, your divorce rate's
But that's because they're Christians.
Yes, it is. But
Well,
I thought that your
that's the reason why
primary
you would
thing
get
that you
married,
wanted was to reduce divorce.
I do, but not
Well,
because
if you
not
do-
because they believe that God thinks divorce is bad, but because they're actually happy in their marriages.
They report
not
their
the same
wait,
thing.
no. This contradicts what you just said. You just said that women are leaving their marriages because they're not happy
No, I said women
inside
are
of their
not.
marriage. I literally made sure to steel man it so that you would agree
But
to
you're
it.
saying it wrong. I said women are not getting married because they don't want to be with somebody.
No,
for the
you
rest
no
of
no
their
no no
life.
no
You
no
said
no. Here was the
that
steel
is what
man.
it
I'll give
said.
it back to you. The steel
Okay, I
man.
mean, it's
Here's
good that it's
exactly what
recorded.
happened, and you can replay this if you don't believe
Okay.
me. I said, so you're saying women are initiating these divorces because the men are
bad.
mistreating them, or
Because
some
men
way
are bad.
Or there's
it's-
something wrong with
something
them.
wrong with the men, and you said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's
Okay.
the case, then that would still be the case, even with these Christians. So are these young men just way higher quality
No,
men?
because Christians, especially more devout Christians, don't believe in divorce.
So, but
It's a very controversial
can
thing.
still get
especially
That's
in
not
Christian
true.
community.
But they
You
can
get
That's
still
not
get it.
true. Like, at least in the Western society, I don't care how Christian somebody is, because divorce is so easy to do. It would be one thing if I think usually in the Catholic Church they're gonna try to make sure you work out your marriage before you just go for divorce, right? But these days, Christian or not, people just easily go to the courthouse, file divorce papers, and that's it. That's the end of the day, right? At least back in the day, you would have to go to the church, and the church would try to make sure you guys work out your issues before you really consider divorce. Or it would have to be a very, very big reason. It's not about I'm not happy. And that's another thing. I don't think marriage is just being happy, because happy is just a state, a feeling. Right now I feel happy, but I may walk outside and it's too hot and I won't be happy anymore. Does it mean I get to walk back in the house and not go take care of my responsibilities and not go to work because it's hot right now and I'm not happy anymore? No, happiness is just a feeling, a state. It's never constant or natural. So for somebody to say people are getting divorced because they're not happy, happy is just a state. It comes and goes, right? It's one thing to get divorced because one person is not helping out with the bills, or another person cheated or something. But just to say people are getting divorced because they're not happy. I'm happy now. I may not be happy 5 minutes from now. Does that mean I should get divorced? No. There should be a strong reason for divorce. We shouldn't just break up families just because I'm not happy. It's not good enough reason.
But it's not socially acceptable. Like, you can say that, but it's not.
I don't think it has anything to do with
It
that,
does.
because my husband and I are
come
not
from a
staying.
very-
My husband and I are
You
not
don't come from a
getting
Christian
divorced.
community. Don't be full of
I
shit.
come
Wait,
from a
I would
Jewish
love to
community.
That's
hear
not a
your
Christian
comment.
But
community.
I would love
it's
to hear your
similar in the
comment.
sense
It's
that
not similar.
everybody's extremely orthodox. They get married very early. They stay married for a very long
They
time.
don't give a shit about divorce. Not a big deal in those communities. It's not a huge
I
deal.
love how you're talking like you know.
I
don't
love how
think-
you're talking like you do. I'm telling you, in a Christian
I'm
community,
talking
in these
about a
Christian
Jewish
communities,
community.
in these Christian communities, which you're speaking on, just so that you understand, they are reporting their happiness levels much higher. They have less antidepressant use. They go to therapy and therapists far less. They have far less of these societal issues
But
that you
that's
see.
because there's
Stop
less
talking. Almost done.
documentation of this,
Until
because they're
yes,
not
there
doing
are
it.
documented.
No, there's less antidepressants prescriptions because there's less therapy because they don't believe in therapy.
Then
because
why
they
is
don't
it
know.
Hang on,
Whoa,
my
whoa,
husband
whoa.
and I go to therapy. We are actively in therapy.
Then how come their
because-
unaliving rates
hang
aren't
on.
higher?
That's
Hang
a
on,
red flag.
Because we believe in marriage. I am not going
She's
to
in
divorce my husband because of the fact that because the Bible says don't get divorced.
I don't know. If somebody's constantly in therapy is just supposed to help you, give you the tools to work out your issues. But if you are constantly in therapy, then something is not wrong. That something is wrong. That means there's something that you guys are failing to work out. But if you're constantly in therapy, that means you guys are constantly having issues. Or maybe therapy is all about making money, and therapists just tell you to keep coming back so they keep making money from you. Which is it? Because this lady just literally admitted that she is always in therapy with her husband. So are you saying they are constantly having issues? Why are the issues not being solved? And then you move on. And also these days, therapy is all, you go to therapy and they're trying to prescribe you drugs all the time. That's also crazy, right? It's almost like I used to be a personal trainer, right? And one of the things I used to do was to make sure if I get a new client, I used to tell them, I'm going to work with you, but I'm going to give you the tools so you don't have to train with me 2 years, 5 years, unless you want to. But I'm not trying to make you my client forever. Yes, I will. I love the money. I love the fact that people are paying me to train them, but I didn't want them to rely. I wanted to give them the tools and the knowledge to be able to either get in shape, lose weight, stay fit, even without me, right? But I think what some therapists do is they don't help their clients. They literally prescribe them drugs, and then they have to keep them coming back to pay for sessions. So for me, if somebody told me, like this lady said, she's always in therapy with her husband and they're constantly going to therapy, that's a red flag to me. That means there's something wrong either with the type of therapy they're getting that is not helping their issues, or the marriage itself is crazy. Because if you're going to therapy all the time and you can't fix the issues, that's a big red flag. What do you guys think?
Divorced. I mean, that's part of it, but I feel like I want to work on my marriage. And so I do go to therapy and we do work hard on it. And it's not because strictly the Bible tells us not to, but
Okay, but
it,
a lot
like
of
good things
women-
take work.
a lot of women, especially if you're in a very religious community where your social points or whatever is dependent on how well you're doing in life, a lot of women don't necessarily want to divorce even if they're in a bad marriage or they're unhappy, because they don't want everybody else to say certain things, or they don't want to take that step with their life. They're very
Wouldn't that
scared,
lead to
whatever
poorer
it is.
outcomes?
It would lead to poorer
Well,
outcomes.
then where can you demonstrate the poorer outcomes? Because all of them are reporting that the outcomes are better. Not only are they getting divorced less, hang on, their kids are far less prone to get into any type of criminal activity at all. Their kids are far more likely to be stable in life. They're far more likely to graduate from high school. They're far more likely to do all of these things.
I don't
And on
necessarily
top of
think
that,
it's because of religion.
well, you just got done saying it is. You just literally got done saying that's because
You're
there's
naming
all
a
these
bunch of
incentives who
different
keep them together.
symptoms, and then you're saying that's all because of religion, when I said one thing was because of religion.
Yes, but no. I just asked you, wouldn't they have worse outcomes? And you said yes. But when we
If
look at
they
the
were
outcomes, they're not
unhappy,
worse.
not just because they're religious.
But they don't report they're unhappy.
But that's because they're not doing anything that would, like, how are they going to report it, please? If they don't go to
If
therapy.
a Pew Researcher, yeah, exactly.
No,
A Pew
literally,
Researcher
that's-
could call them and say, "Are you unhappy?" And they would say yes.
That's
Yeah,
not how
they
it
would.
happens.
It
That's
is how it
not-
happens.
No, that's not how it happens.
How is data gathered?
You
Yeah, data is gathered through calls. That's one of the
And in
ways.
the study, how do they gather the data?
You take a study.
How do they
for
gather the
population-
data for the study?
But I'm saying in this study,
How do they gather the data for the study?
the population in question, sorry. the population in question here, they're literally not going to therapy. They don't go. They don't.
They
believe
don't
in
have
all
to.
these
Yeah,
things.
They don't
because
have
they're
to.
They
stable.
go to their priests. They do their whatever.
Yeah.
You're saying
Yeah.
they're stable because that's what the stats show. But
Yeah.
they're not actually saying, like, they don't have.
They
any
do.
basis.
They literally
How
use
did-
polling
okay,
data.
how
They
did
use
so how
polling
did they do that? They
data.
just called them up and they were.
It sounds like she's really dying to prove the point that people are unhappy in marriages, but at the same time, she wants to find a solution to why people should stay married, and all she's talking about is happiness. But if Andrew Wilson is saying that the most successful marriages are where the husband and wife have a foundation of Christianity, and she's talking about doesn't mean they're happy, but it's never really just about being happy in the marriage. The statistics show those who are more of a Christian foundation tend to stay longer and report being more happy or happier than the people who are not into church, right? So she's fighting so hard to prove that they might be unhappy, but they don't report they're unhappy. And she thinks because they don't go for therapy, they're unhappy. This is crazy.